Good evening, everyone. I'm Michael. Welcome to this evening's practice. Anybody here for the first time? Great to see everybody here again. Before we get started, we have a few announcements. If you haven't already, please remember to silence your cell phones and put them away so that you can be fully present for the talk and meditation. If you must use your phone, please do so outside the meditation hall. We invite you to join us for our Tuesday events with Medicine Buddha practice at 6 p.m. and our public talk at 7 p.m. Next week for the Tuesday evening talk, Geshe Phende will continue speaking on the 37 practices of a Bodhisattva with practice of generosity. Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m., the Drepung Loseling monks conduct evening prayers for His Holiness the Dalai Lama's long life and other teachers. On Thursdays at 4:30 p.m., the Loseling monks conduct the Protector Puja for smooth journeys, successive interviews, medical treatments, new business, etc. Deepen your practice with the Intermediate series led by Geshe Phende, being held on Zoom once a month on Saturdays through November. This course explores essential Mahayana Buddhist teachings and meditations. The next practice will be on August 22nd on Guru Yoga, the spiritual practice of relying upon and receiving blessings from a spiritual teacher. This series is designed for those who've already completed our foundation series. As a reminder, please do not park on the grass or on the grass along the driveway or behind the building. If the lot's full, overflow parking can be found via Skyland Drive at the John Lewis Elementary School outside of school operating hours. This is mainly relevant on the weekends, but good to hear twice a week. Information on all events can be found in the lobby or on our website at drepung.org. If you're interested in becoming a member to support our ongoing programs and take advantage of benefits like discounts on courses and retreats, applications are available in the library, and you can also register online. There's a donation box near the entrance to this room. Your generous support helps us to continue to offer programs and services like this to our Atlanta community and to those around the world through our online programs. Now, if you would, please stand as we invite our resident teacher, Geshe Phende, to come in for this evening's practice.
Okay, so first we're going to recite the mantra of the Heart Sutra. And during the recitation, this mantra, it's good to meditate on emptiness. That's I think, the most important part. Even sometimes you cannot able to pronounce well the mantra, but if you really meditate on emptiness, that's, I think, the most important part. So during the recitation of the mantra, try to meditate on emptiness. Tayata gate gate paragate parasangate bodhidaya soha tayata gate gate paragate parasankate bodhisoha 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 tayata gate gate paragate parasankate bodhisoha. Next is the four immeasurables. May all beings have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they find the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from attachments and hatred. May all beings have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they find the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from attachments and hatred. May all beings have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they find the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from attachments and hatred. Next is the mandala offering. Oi sai shi pi ki choi shi ai me ai to tagma ri ai rava li shi ni ai de ai ke ba Sanje Shinto Mi Te Pi Wa Ye Joy Kwe Nama Dai Shin La Chö Pa Sho yedam guru ratna mendala kamniya taya me. So today that we are, I think, the practice number 24. The text is the same, the 37 practices of Bodhisattva by Geshe Sampo. So today's practice number 24. So actually, there are 37 different types of the practice. Now it's 24 practice. So these practice, the main what you call practice is the conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. These two bodhicitta. So conventional bodhicitta helps you to overcome your self-centered attitude, and ultimate bodhicitta helps to overcome the mind of self-grasping. So according to Buddhist what you call psychology, the main causes of all our problem, suffering, is one's own mental afflictions, right? One's own what you call destructive emotions. So among the destructive emotions, one of the root causes of these destructive emotions is self-centered and self-grasping. These are the two, the main causes of all the destructive emotion. So that is why these 37 practices of Bodhisattvas, all this teaching is for sake of overcome self-centered and self-grasping. So that is why as a practitioner, first it is very important to understand self-centered, which means what? Self-grasping, right? Which means what? Right? We all has these two minds, self-centered and self-grasping. We all have that. So all our problem, as from the Buddhist perspective, the main causes of circling in samsara, right? Another word is what you call why we born into samsara, right? Mundane kind of contaminated realms. It's because of your self-centered and your self-grasping, right? Because of these two mental afflictions, and you being stuck into the samsara sufferings. And we have a variety types of the suffering, right? So for instance, like we call the contaminated aggregates, right? This body, the mind, everything's contaminated. So that kind of suffering is also because of selfish and self-grasping. We do have temporary problems, fear, worry, right? Sometimes anxiety, or sometimes we feel depression or suffering of loneliness. So certain type of the suffering in temporarily we experience quite oftenly, right? Living in mundane world, when we encounter with certain type of the situation, then what we feel inner fear, worry, right? It's constantly kind of the painful feeling we are experiencing. It's also because of self-centered and self-grasping. So that is why it is very, very important for the practitioner to really understand that these are, coming from your self-centered, right? So when you have kind of the doubt or not that much clear, your self-centered, your self-grasping is the causes of all your mental afflictions. And your mental afflictions are the causes of all the suffering, physical, mental, emotional sufferings, or as an individual, as a family and society, right? All the variety type of the suffering which is coming from one's own mental affliction. So if you do not know that, then the what you call practicing Mahayana Buddhism, right? Bodhisattva paths may be very difficult. When we say practice, which means actually it's reduce, antidote to your mental affliction. Another word, practice the Dharma, which means you're exercising your mind to change from wrong perception, negative thoughts, right? Negative emotions to right perception, valid cognition, virtuous mind. That's called practicing Dharma. So in order to do that, practitioner oneself really understand my distracted emotions, right? My mental afflictions are the main causes of my suffering. So that philosophy, if you do not know, then you may not that much feel dislike to your mental affliction. Another word, you not feeling any hesitation, concern to one's own mental affliction. So if you really do not that much concern or worry about your mental affliction, then you may not that much feel wish to change my mental affliction, right? Wish to stop them or wish to suppress them. You may don't feel that. If you don't feel wish to change your mental affliction, and Dharma is for what, right? That's why sometimes the Dharma we use, it goes to the wrong things. Dharma is supposed to be Dharma, right? Buddha's teaching, Buddhist practice, but it's not becoming Buddhist practice. Practicing Dharma doesn't mean it become a Dharma, right? You practice Dharma, but it not goes to the Dharma. It's not become a Dharma. What that means that whatever you practice, these practices are not becoming to antidote to one's own destructive emotion, not becoming, what you call tool to change your destructive emotion. So sometimes instead of that, it may increase destructive emotion. Because of the Dharma, it may increase your attachment. It may increase your arrogance. So when the Dharma becoming causes of increasing your attachment, your arrogance, right? Your destructive emotion, that means your dharma is turned into poison, right? It didn't become a dharma. So what the mistake? Mistake is the dharma practitioner. Lack of understanding the dharma, right? Means lack of understanding the disadvantages of their destructive emotion. There's lack of understanding the real suffering and the causes of suffering. That is why they do not have strong desire to change these causes of your suffering, which are your mental affliction. So not having that, then dharma you apply to the different way. The name of dharma, sometimes people are becoming more arrogance, more ego, right? So you, like for instance, as a monk, right? You're very young age, you go to the monastery, we study, spend decades and decades, do the examination, all kind of things. Then you graduated, you may get some titles, right? We have also same titles. In the modern school, they have degrees, right? Bachelor, master, PhD, exactly the same. In the monastery, we do have these very different titles. Some temple, maybe they do not have that serious teaching on philosophy, psychology, but they still have certain type of the titles. You've been monk or nun for certain years, then they have certain type of the title, the names, and sometimes if you're really not carefully, it may create you arrogance, ego. I'm special. I'm something, the master. Or I have this degree, I have that degree. So, it comes that way. It's very interesting, these destructive emotions can come everywhere. Even sometime during the teaching, right? You're teaching the dharma. During the teaching, sometimes it can increase you ego, arrogance, attachment. You may attach to your reputation. You may attach to your fame. You may attach to the money. You may attach to the, your power, your position. It comes everywhere. So if you really carefully, when we're doing the practice, if you don't really seriously focus on destructive emotion, after maybe hours and hours you did the chanting, prayer, teaching, all kind of things. After finish that, when you look at yourself, they really reduce your attachment, anger, your arrogance. Maybe instead of reducing, maybe it grow more attachment, more arrogance. It is possible. Really, sometimes if you're really not looking inside the real dharma, just external things, it's very similar. As an ordinary, the school, you can build huge big school, you can make a beautiful decoration in your classroom, all kind of things, right? We do this. Sometimes in the temple also, you can build big temple, you can make beautiful decorations, all kind of things. But the intention, if you're not really carefully, maybe it may comes out of your attachment, right? Out of your greed. So out of that, when whatever you build it, actually, according to the Buddha's teaching, it's not become a dharma. It's not become a dharma. right? Dharma, which means I mentioned many times. Dharma, or means it's called the doctrines or Buddha's teachings, Buddhist practice, which means it's like a medicine. Dharma is like a medicine. So what kind of disease we have to cure? Disease is your mental afflictions, right? Your mental afflictions, your negative actions. Buddhists we used to call karma, action, behave. So negative, wrong action, wrong behave leads you to the wrong place, right? Samsara. So we ended up to the wrong place, complicated suffering because of our action, behave wrong. This wrong action coming from where? Wrong consciousness, wrong mind. That's called mental afflictions. Attachment, anger, jealousy, arrogance, selfish, right? All kind of mistaken consciousness. So these are the chronic disease. According to Buddhist belief, we've been circled in samsara, right? It's not just only one life. The countless of the life in our past, right? It's born into samsara. Why we born there? Why we still not liberated? Why we still same samsara? Right? Because of this chronic disease, mental affliction. So as long as if your mind or if yourself is under the influence of mental affliction, destructive emotion, then there's no choice. The way to you live is living in samsara, right? So that's why the Dharma, Buddha's teaching, the practice is kind of the medicine, right, for cure your mental afflictions and your negative actions. That's why. So Dharma is there, right? It's cure the mental affliction doesn't mean, okay, we recite this mantra, right? This mantra we recite it. And each different temple, each, the tradition has their own mantra. Many mantras. I have, few, maybe 30 or 40 different mantra I have committed. I have to recite every day. That's, certain type of the initiation. When you receive it, your commitments. I have to recite every day. But the problem is, when we say, I'm practicing Dharma, majority people, what they're thinking, I'm practicing Buddhism. I'm practicing Dharma means you reciting either mantras, either certain type of the sutra, the prayers, or you're doing some prostration or circumambulance and off. We're always thinking like something external, kind of the ritual things. We line it up with a nice tune, with a walk. These are the only way thinking that Dharma means really thinking that way. Right? But when you carefully to think, when first time, when the Buddha, when he teach his teaching, it's called Four Noble Truths, right? He taught the Four Noble Truths. Everybody knows. During that time, what he say? First, he talked about the suffering, right? That's our goal, to get rid of that. Then he said that suffering coming from where? He said these suffering come from the truth of origin of suffering is your mental affliction, your karma, actions are the suffering. Then he introduced the Dharma, right? Cessation of suffering and truth path. It's for what? Dharma, these are the for sake of overcome your mental affliction and your negative actions. Right? That's how the Dharma is for sake of that. So you can look at just recite mantra alone without really meditate. Sometime, okay, people can do that. In the Tibetan tradition, we do have different type of the mantra. There's one mantra, is the mantra wealthy deity, quite popular. It's called the Zambala. So they're reciting that mantra, Om Zambala Zalenda Isoha, right? So they're reciting the mantra, number of people, for sake of what? For sake of becoming rich, right? Become lots of money. So that means they're reciting 100 times, 1,000 times, for sake of become a very rich person. It means tremendous attachment, right? They have attached to money. So much greed for money. That's why they recite this mantra. I'm not telling to everybody same that way. Saying number of people who really don't know the Dharma properly. So all these 100 times, 1,000 times they recite it, then you look at after finish, did this practice, did they really reduce your destructive emotion or not? Right? Is there really antidote to your destructive emotion or not? Of course not. It increase. It become more attachment, right? Because they meditate on attachment. Right? Is it the Dharma or not? When you look from outside, looks like a Dharma. He's sitting in front of this deity, offering this incense and all kind of things. Then eye closing, reciting this mantra, repeating hours and hours, right? Looks like a really great practitioner. But actually it is not, right? It didn't benefit. Instead of reduce mental affliction, they increase more. So mistake, where they start the mistake? Because of they really don't understand the real Dharma. So the person who don't understanding the Dharma properly, then when these people do the Dharma practice, it's not that much benefit. Really, you can accumulate certain type of the merit. Little benefit, yes, you accumulate merits. But the real Dharma, even the merit is for what? Right? It's achieving the realization, insight. Grow your inner knowledge, your inner practice. Grow that. Through that clean your mental affliction. Each time your anger, your attachment, your greed, your arrogance, each of these destructive emotions are declined, you can see even the moment, even this moment, present moment, less fear, less worry, less anxiety. All this mental will change, right? In the furthermore, your action, right? Everything's changing better. And then finally, when you are free from this destructive emotion, you liberate it. Means you are free from all the sufferings. No more circle, go to the samsara now. The door is closed. Right? That because of the Dharma. So the practice means to change that. So all of this mistake is number of the Buddhist practitioners who really not understanding this Dharma properly. And that's why they really do not know how to practice the Dharma. And they just follow just culture, ritual only. And the ritual, who knows what's going on? Ritual, through understanding the do with the ritual, huge benefit, If inside is nothing changing, just ritual outside there, sometimes it may be, instead of benefit, it may create some issues, the problems, grow more. So sometimes people, when you look at in the organizers, when they organize the Dharma within their societies, then when they've been many times doing these things, instead of becoming more humble, more great practitioners, sometimes they're becoming more arrogant, more ego. It's exactly the same who organized the wedding ceremony, organized the Dharma ceremony. Maybe if intention is not clear, it's the same way. They become too much arrogant, looking themselves in the society, I'm something, I'm this, to try to show. So all of this mistake. They're working very hard. Most of the time when they organize, voluntarily, because they think I do some Dharma, but actually it's growing arrogance. So that is why I mentioned it's very important. What we need to know is all these suffering I've been experiencing, these are really of course, external condition around there, family, society, other people, situation. But the deeper level, it's ended up in my mental affliction. That kind of link, that kind of connection, very, very important to know that. That's called analytical meditation, to analyzing. Okay, somebody tell me today blah, blah, blah. I'm really upset now. I'm not happy. It really hurts me. Then you look at why. Because of she said that, he said that. That's the condition. He said that, she said that. But why you have to upset? Go much deeper. Because I'm angry. That's how there comes now. Anger is there. So, I have jealous. I jealoused to this person. That's why I'm not happy with this. Right? I feel attached to my fame, my reputation. So somebody tried to put down my reputation. It really hurts me. It's disturbed me. Why? Because I'm attached to my fame and reputation. These kind of things, you have to go deeper level, dig down there. Definitely there's something within your mind. Then you're realizing these destructive emotions are, how horrible they are, how bad it is, how much it ruins your life, right? Then you go next layer. These destructive emotions coming from where? Why I become easily, to feel anger, hatred, attachment, jealousy. Why it is? Then deeper layer, down there, because of self-centered. So self-centered, what that means? Self-centered means the mind who believe self is the most important than others. Self is the first, most important than others. So more important, others means something secondary level. Is not that much important. That kind of mindset is called self-centered. That self-centered coming from where? Deeper when you look at, called self-grasping. So self-grasping, which means what? Right? Self-centered, who's seeking self in other means self is more important than others. Right? Who cherish first self. Ignore others, that type of mind. But self-grasping, what is that? Self-grasping means the mind who grasps self is not looking self is important, other is not important. It's nothing to do with that. Either self, either other, any object. When they grasp these objects exist independently, inherently, right? Independently existence, inherently or intrinsically. What does that really means? Independent, inherent. What that means when we look into this bell, right? Everybody, when we see this bell, we say, bell is there, right? I can grab it, right? That's how everybody can see that way. When the bell appear to your mind, bell means something on the table. I can hold it. I can grab it. There, right? That's how we see. That's we grasp. We never ever think this bell is just label or designated by name of the bell or thoughts, right? We never think these are just label or designated by your thoughts, your minds, or name. Is a bell means there. It's nothing designated. It's from their object side. That type of grasping is called self-grasping. It is most difficult to really understand that. So one of the most unique, Buddhist philosophy is this kind of philosophy. Very unique. None of others can talk. Even none of the religious philosophy, they're ancient, there are many philosophers, scholars, they never discovered that. Today in the modern science also same, which only the Gautam Buddha Shakyamuni, he discovered it. Everything, when we look it looks like from the object side, but in the reality, they are not from the object side. So now how can you prove that? If bell is from there, from its own side, right? When we investigate from this object, we have to find the bell, right? You look at, okay, is this his bell? Or this is bell? Or is this his bell? Or you check it. Each of the parts, right? Each of these parts is not the bell, right? Each of these parts, one part here, each of them is not the bell, right? Without each of these parts, there's no bell, right? But do bell exist? Yes, it exists, it's functioning. It's make a sound, it's functioning. So existence exists because of its functioning. They're not saying they are not exist. It exists because it's functioning. But where is it? Try to find from the object side, you cannot find it anything. It's ended up each of those parts. Those parts are ended up with the particles. These particles ended up with its own part of the particle. You keep going. You never find. It's getting more complicated. So that's showing bell exists, but bell is not exist from its own, independently, inherently. Where the existence is just labeled, designated by names and your thoughts. You just named it on all those parts joined together, collections of all those parts of the bell. When they join together, we just label bell. Go there to find, you cannot find anything from there, right? That's called emptiness. Emptiness doesn't mean nothing exists. Emptiness means empty of independent, inherent existence. That means everything's are, do they exist? Yes, the way of their existence is interdependence, right? Interconnected. So things join together, interconnected. That's how you say this or that. Go there to find, cannot find anything from there. So that's how the reality, how things exist, right? But the problem is for us, we don't see that way. Everything's solid from there. So when we see the solid absolute from the object side, then when we see attractive object, right? Something attractive object, same, that attractive is from the object side, from there, solid from there. That's how we attach to these objects. Certain unattractive objects, when they appear to our mind, it's not just only unattractive object, it's also that object solid, absolute, objectively, independently there. That's why we feel hatred, angry, right? When you look at the person who's shouting to you, so this person, we see like person means something there, solid there, right? We hate to them. Then you go investigate, okay, where is it? Is his mouth is him, nose him, go each part of the body. We cannot find it, right? Each aspect of the mind, look at, we cannot find it. So when you look at to try to investigate to find from the object side, you cannot find anything there, that person. You cannot find there. But without investigation, oh, this is the person who's shouting me. This is the very attractive, beautiful guy there. We attach, right? All of these appearance to us is the illusion, mistaken. Like when you are when you sleep and you're dreaming, during the dreamed, you see many things, beautiful things, you're seeing scary things you can see. Beautiful things when we see, you feel joy, right? Very scary dream creates you fear, right? And during that time, you never think this is dream. That's why you feel these painful feelings. If you know this is not true, this is just dream, that means you will not going to feel any fear, right? When you know dream as a dream. Similarly, even we are awake, the things which we see is reality, they are not exist that way. For us, everything seeing like a solid, absolutely there, but in the reality, is not exist these things. They exist just relatively, dependently, not solid absolutely. So knowing empty of exists independently, that wisdom, that knowledge, tremendous helps you to control your anger, your attachment. Because anger and attachment are grounded based on mind of self-grasping. Mind of self-grasping, I always telling you, it's like I put the big wall there. Everything's made solid. That mind of self-grasping. Based on that, solid, attractive, that means you attach. Unattractive, you feel angry. So all of the rest of the emotion, you put the big wall there, and you put all the color. Because the wall is there, then you can paint all the color there. But actually that wall, solid wall, created by self-grasping. That's what I call self-grasping is the foundation, ground for all your destructive emotion. Self-grasping is absolutely wrong perception. Mistaken consciousness is called ignorance. Therefore, rest of all the emotions grow from that self-grasping. It's become the wrong, mistaken consciousness. That's why all of these destructive emotions create us pain, suffering, because all of these are wrong and mistake. So the wrong mistake always create problems, right? That is why understanding the emptiness, means the empty of inherently existence. Knowing that knowledge tremendously open your eye to see completely different way how the things exist. Very attractive, very unattractive, whatever they appear will not that much create you inside the emotion, pain, because these are illusion, because it appears like a very attractive, solid, absolute from the object side. Reality, it is not. It is just interconnected, interdependency, right? It's nothing from the solid, from the object side. So that is why wisdom of emptiness, ultimate bodhicitta, is antidoting to one's own mind of self-grasping, right? Therefore, today, stanza 24 here. So it says, first I read in Tibetan, Dungen na so milam pushitar, tunang dembar song we atang che, teacher metuken the tebetse, tuber tawa jese lagleis. All forms of sufferings are like a child's death in a dream, holding illusory appearance to be true makes you weary, right? Weary. Therefore, when you meet with disagreeable circumstances, see them as illusory. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So this stanza is actually, it's abandoning clinging to the object of aversion. So this stanza is specific focus to antidote, right? To clinging to the object of aversion. So which means the object, some kind of unattractive object, the object which makes you irritated, right? The objects who, any circumstances who creates you anger. So what should we think here? It's saying all of these circumstances, all of these phenomena, it's not truly exist from the object side. It's like a dream. So all forms of suffering are like a child's death in the dream. So as a parents, right? When you dream your child death in your dream, so scary, right? So much painful, right? Everybody can experience that. So similarly like that, is like a dreaming, means all these unfortunate circumstances or disagreeable circumstances, when they arises to you, all of these are like a dream. It's not truly from the object side. They are not truly exist objectively. Right? It appear like a solid absolute there, but in the reality they are not. Where the existence is dependently, not solid absolute from there. So like a child death in the dream. So it appear when you are in the dream, it looks like a real, right? It's real. Everything looks real. That's how you can feel the suffering, which is exactly the same suffering when your child's real die, the parents feeling suffering, exactly that level of suffering you can experience in the dream when you saw your child is die, right? Death. So now what's the point is, solution for that is you need to know this is dream. It's not true. It's illusory, dreams. So when you know it is dream, problem is solved, right? No pain. Similarly, in unfortunate circumstances, any environment, right? You are in that environment, it causes you so much anger. And these are the objects at the moment when you feel angry, that moment for you, seeing all of these are unattractive objects, solid, absolute there. These are there. He is shouting me, she is shouting me, whatever, right? It's solid there. I can knock it down, right? I can hit back, so I can grab it. That's how we feel. But the reality, when you look at to try to find where he is, where she is, I mentioned earlier, you cannot find it anything from there. Where you pinpoint, it's not pointable, right? Where you point, his word, his mouth, right? His physical behavior. Where is it? Really try to pinpoint, you cannot find anything there. It's not pointable. So this is like called illusory. It appears like a solid there, but actually it's nothing from the object side. Not solid, absolute there. Nothing from there. Right? So when you see that, seeing them as illusory, it's appear but not truly there. When you know that, you can control your aversion, your anger. You can overcome that. Because you feel angry because of, for you, this object is solid there. This, what you call the unfortunate circumstances, right? And here we use the use called disagreeable circumstances. It's there. Circumstances are there. So we seeing is solid. But actually, if you know this is illusory, is not truly there. It appears like that, but in the reality, it is not from the object side, where the existence is interconnected with so many things. That's why you feel angry, because you don't see the reality. Your mind is covered by self-grasping, ignorance. That self-grasping, anything appear, it's solid from there. Actually, in reality, it's depend on so many causes, condition. So you can go from grosser level of dependent origination to very subtle dependent origination. There are different types of the dependent origination. Really helps to control your emotions. For instance, somebody says something, you feel angry. Because of that, you feel really upset, not happy, right? Not happy and upset. So now you're thinking, in that moment, you're only pointing to the one guy, only him or her. You're pointing that. In the reality, it's not only one. It's not just only one person there. There's so many other causes, condition there, right? Many other causes, condition. One of the causes is also your anger. If you don't feel angry, then whatever they say is not going to be affect you, right? So your anger is also one of the causes, creates you pain. And not only this person, his or her anger, his or her other jealousy, or his or her ignorance. There are many other things there. And there are also external condition. So many causes, condition, right? Join together, wrapping together. And you experience that pain. There's not only to the one person, only to pinpoint. There are many other circumstances. That's also dependent on cause, condition, verity, one way of dealing, right? For you, it appears like only that guy, right? Only this person. But in the reality, there are many circumstances, many other causes, conditions. thorough understanding of many other causes condition. For you, seeing this person, that's how you see, is completely wrong. It's illusory. Appear like this is the troublemaker, but actually not only this, there are many causes condition. So my seeing is not the true, it's illusory. It appear like that, reality it is not. That's the gross level of dealing this. Subtle level of illusory, I mentioned earlier, emptiness. Means nothing, anything from the object side. This is very, I mentioned, it's very difficult, but it's really, really powerful. You really research, what you call, investigate. Eventually, it's saying is everything, every phenomena, right, appear to us. It looks like everything solid there, but actually there nothing exists from there. Where the existence is just relatively, dependently. So nothing solid, absolute from there. It's just where we label it. We designate it. We just label our mind and our body. For instance, when you see this guy, John, when you see the John's face, right? John's body and John's face, you see, you say, John, I saw the John, right? That's how we label. Otherwise, John's face is not John, right? John's body is not the John. What you see is not the John. Each part of his body, that you see, this is not him or her, right? So this we label. Means our mind is, oh, this is John, and its function like that. So the things you see and where they function, and we just label it, that's how it is exists. Way of existence in this world, anything where the existence is, the things which they function and what you label, and it's function that exactly same way, that's how you call it exists. Go there to find, you cannot find anything from the object side. Nothing find anything from the object side. It's good to look yourself. You're part of body, part of your mind, your spirit, your collections of your body and mind, whatever. You cannot find you anything there. Can you pinpoint, this is me? Okay, where you pointed, say this is me. It's nothing. Cannot find anything. But that doesn't mean you are not exist, right? Why exist? It's functioning. Same like that, the candlelight, you leave it there, the fire, the little fire and the candlelights. Okay, each of the particle of that fire is not fire, right? The little particles, atoms of the fire, right? You cannot find it there. But when you put your finger on there, it burns you. That means fire exists because it's functioning. But try to find it, you cannot find there. It's not pointable. That's how every phenomena is like that, but we don't see them. For us, it's appear like a solid, absolute, everything's there. But the reality is not exist independently. That's called everything's for us to seeing like illusory. It appears something, reality it is not. So when you really understand that, and when you meditate and experience that way, any unattractive or what you call disagreeable circumstances arises, you engage with that, it not bothers you. It will not create you aversion, anger, because you know these are just illusion. It's not truly there. So like us, like if you look it into the TV, right? So this just movie. Somebody just playing and doing violin, all these things. If you 100% know this is just movie, it's not true. right? It's not true, they're just playing that. That when you look at, even they're using harsh word, all kind of things, it not that much makes you upset, angry, right? Because you know what you're seeing is not true. But if you look it into like a news channel, and you really believe now this is the news channel. So in that same, when they do violence, when you see some kind of violence, or kind of harming to other people or something, you really feel upset. You really feel angry. Why? Because your heart, you're believing what you appear, that's true, right? That's how you feel that emotion. So we cannot do in this side, when you break down your mind of ego grasping, when you're understanding where of everything, where the existence exists just relatively, nothing solid from there, knowing emptiness means ultimate reality of all the phenomena, is the one of the best way to control your destructive emotion. Completely you can eliminate it, right? That is why this stanza 24, seeing them as an illusory, this is the practice of Bodhisattva. So that seeing them as an illusory means knowing, understanding the emptiness. Everything way of the existence is existence just dependently, interconnected. It's nothing from there solidly. It's dependent. Everything's each other's. Where the existence is dependent, so you cannot point to the one person or one thing's there. It's nothing from there. So knowing this really helps to control your destructive emotions, specific your anger. That's why this stanza is the focus how to control your anger when you encounter with the unfortunate circumstances, any circumstances, your family matter, nation, society, individual, right? Everybody has some issues. We quite often encounter this. And these things, quite often you see, you hear, it really makes you, feels you angry, hatred, right? Then when you apply this emptiness meditation, seeing them as illusory, then everything will be changed. That is why what you call Bodhisattvas, how can they remain really calm and peace, right? Even they have so much things to deal, but still very happy. Like today, in example, for instance, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, right? It's the simple monk. Really big challenge, right? During after 59 to till today, right? His whole country is taken over by Chinese communists and torturing, killing, destroying all these monasteries, one after one, been decades, 50, 60, 70 years, right? Almost now. How much he hears, seeing, but when you talk with His Holiness, he's always loving, still very peaceful. That doesn't mean he ignores, he don't care. He's the freedom fighter, right? Is working so hard. But how he really manage his emotion can remain that level of peaceful, that level of happiness. Even you can hear even one little story, each family, how much they torture it, right, by these armies and all of this. And he been hearing this. He been seeing those, victims, families, being many times, many different stories. But he still, really, when you talk with him and sit with him, still very peaceful, very happy-minded, right? That's how it doesn't mean he took a drugs or alcohol and he's just lived there. It doesn't mean that, right? How he really managing this emotion because of this wisdom of emptiness He been saying this. Tremendous helps him to control all his emotion. Bodhicitta, compassion, this wisdom of emptiness, so powerful. And this wisdom of emptiness is really difficult. So really need to study and think really carefully. It's talking something very, very deeper level. Technology cannot manage these things. So have to be used the logic. So it's not easy. So, but when you really understand that philosophy, it's tremendous, helps you. So that is why, we really, as a Buddhists, so much pay respect to the Buddha Shakyamunis, because he's the first person who discovered this important philosophy. That's the reality, right? He found that and shared that. And still passed away, Buddha has been more than 2,500, right? 2,500 years ago. Constantly these philosophies, they are kept and spreading and generation to generation, right? It's really appreciated to these masters. And those, in order to keep this tradition and spread to the entire beings, to help them to control this emotion, that is why this institute and Buddhist temples and all this main focus is to spread the Dharma. Right? That's why they established these things. So people go there to learn, practice, study, meditate, then they can heal from all those anger, attachment, greeds, arrogance, how much they've been suffered themselves in the society everywhere, right? So these messages are really helps. Therefore, this stanza 24, it's very important. Then the next we start 25, 26. These are 6 parameter, right? The 6 parameter. So each day we're going to discuss on each perfection. There are 6 perfections after that. So these are we're going to talk in the next Tuesdays. Okay, so now we finish. We'll stop here and conclusion. Going to recite the Mane mantra and meditate on this. Through today you learn something, and now you can reflect it and think about entire people who lives in this planet. Everybody have issues, right? Mentally problems as a family. So one of the root causes is this mind of self-grasping. It's completely covered them. So for them, what they're seeing, everything's absolute solid. That's why too much anger, too much attachment, too much greed. And result of that, they all suffer. So you meditate, wish all of them be free from suffering. Specific, this mind of self-grasping, which is one of the fundamental causes of the destructive emotion. So you wish everybody, free from these kind of destructive emotion, then recite the mantra. It's called the compassion practice with recite mantra. Om mani padme hum, 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 O mani pe me wo, O mani pe me. And thus, Honorable Compassionate Gurus, we seek your blessings that all karmic debts, obstacles, and sufferings of mother beings may be without exception wrapping upon us right now, and that we may give our happiness and virtues to others, and thereby invest all beings in bliss. And thus, Honorable Compassionate Gurus, we seek your blessings that all karmic debts, obstacles, and sufferings of mother beings may be without exception wrapping upon us right now, and that we may give our happiness and virtues to others, and thereby invest all beings in bliss. Oye te na ye chi la ma tu che ma jo tro ve ti tu ma lu ta da la mi ba ta da ji de Geshe la ta wa ji joy ku de ta de ba ji ki lo joy ku de ta de ba ji ki lo chanchu simcho rinpoche ma che pa nam ki chu chi ke ba nyam ba me ba yang kong ne kong do pe wa sho. May the precious and sublime Bodhicitta not yet born be born, and that which has been born not decline but increase forever. Okay, thank you.